तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रियै। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे, हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे. So very quickly, first 5 minutes. Anyone who has not chanted the first verse yet, anyone new who has memorized it today, please unmute yourself and chant the first verse that was supposed to be memorized for this chapter. Has anyone not chanted it yet and memorized it now, this today? Or I presume that each one of you has memorized the first verse. I don't know which is correct. Okay, and who has done the homework from fear to faith? I was reading one article somebody wrote, and then Shashi Prasad Prabhu said deleted. Shashi Prasad Prabhu is very strict manager. He's very good. Please don't mind. He's managing so many groups of mine, and people post so many other things. Um, you can email me when you do a homework. You can email it to me, and I will get back to you. Yes, Uma Mataji, fear to faith. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mata. Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, fear is because we don't know what is going to
Mataji, your
happen.
voice is very feeble for me. Is it okay for everyone else?
No.
Okay, Mataji. Now can you hear me?
Hmm.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Fear is when we don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, and we are scared that whatever we are expecting will not come true. So we get scared, and then we think that oh, tomorrow if what we expect do not come, then what we are going to do. All this is the cause of fear. So, but when we start chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we come to know that Lord Krishna is responsible for everything, right from moving of a leaf to everything. He is responsible. So slowly then we can leave everything to him, and then we know that as long as we are with him and we surrender to him, he will do everything what is good for us, and we need not bother about the future, and we need not get scared what is going to happen to us, because we have surrendered to him. He knows what is good for us, and he will do what is good for us, and he will see to it that his bhaktas are never at uh, never at loss for anything, and what they need, they will surely. What he thinks is good for us, we will surely get that. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Mataji, nice talk, but I would appreciate, because you're in advanced class now, I would appreciate if you can quote scriptures. So I expect a certain standard that you quote scriptures, give reference. But thank you, Mataji.
Okay,
Rajni Rajan Mataji, go ahead. No more than 2 minutes, okay? Then our class time gets shorter.
1 minute, Mataji.
I'm
Excuse me. 1 minute.
Yes, Rajni Rajan Mataji, go ahead.
1 minute, Mataji.
Uma Mataji, please let her speak. Then you come. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay. You look
I'm
so
not
busy.
scared. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mataji. But I'm a bit scared now since you said refer to the verses. I'm not prepared to refer to the verses. I've not reached that standard. But I'll put it very simply.
Okay.
Ki, name the fear, surrender it to Lord Krishna, and he will take care of it. That's very simple and straightforward answer only I have.
Okay, so you're saying that recognize your fear. That's a very good realization. That recognize what the fear, where the fear is lying, and
Yeah.
then
Surrender it to God. And then, that probably opens up the path to overcome that fear.
you are quoting. Actually, Arjuna recognized, I cannot fight because of compassion, because it is sinful, because it will destroy the family tradition. So he recognized what he's fearful. So you are quoting. I'm just revealing it to you that you're not
Thank,
doing vague, vague talk. You are quoting. So that's good. So
thank
that's what
you.
I. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Mataji, what did you want to say?
Yeah, I want to say it is mentioned in 5th chapter, verse number 29.
What does it? Hoktara tapasam.
Yes, yeah.
Sarvaloka.
I don't know it by heart, madam.
That is the verse 5.29.
Yes,
Bhoktarasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Suhridam Sarvabhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati. That is the verse. So, okay. So that person who gives up all the results to me. Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Komaleshwari
Yeah.
Hari-
Hare Krishna Mataji. I can quote Gajendra as when Gajendra was caught by the crocodile. Out of fear, he tried. He could not come out of it. When he had faith in God and called out Adi Bijaya, immediately Vishnu came and delivered him.
So from fear to faith, that is your
Faith. Yeah,
Okay.
Mataji.
Thank you.
Okay,
Who
thank you.
the article in WhatsApp? I was reading it was so nice and immediately it disappeared. It was a phone number only. There was no name. So please tell who had written that article. Then answer. I'll tell the phone number. Krishna. Maybe that person has not joined. The phone number is 98678988076. Whose phone number is this? Okay, maybe they're not here. That was a nice answer. Okay, no one else?
Text 19, there is one thing quoted, Mataji.
What, Prabhu?
Text 19, first chapter.
Yes.
Yeah, there is Sagosho Dadrashtranam Hridayani Vyadarayat Nabascha Prithivim Chaiva Tumulo Bayanundayam. Even is in the midst of calamity, one who takes shelter in the shelter of Supreme Lord, then he will be recovered. Like
That is the meaning?
yeah, one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even the midst of the greatest calamity.
So that's where the question originated, right? So I want your own realization. Like while Uma Mataji said that nothing moves, not even a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Lord. So we just have to realize that. And Rajni Mataji said, recognize where the fear is and then surrender it to Krishna. So very important, be aware. Or Komaleshwari Mataji quoted Gajendra, how he was struggling. So, okay, but Karthik Prabhu, thank you. You're very Shastric. Thank you. But I want to hear your realization.
Yes,
What
can
is-
I add, Mataji, quickly? Like,
Yes.
yeah, I was fearing, like, my personal thing you want to tell, or like personal experience? Can it?
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah, no, actually, I was fearing to take up this questions and all here, like whether I'll be able to answer questions. So, Krishna has helped me to take up questions and boldly answer. So, determination, I think that is what we need to have faith in Krishna. He will do. If we are doing for him, if we are doing service to him, he will definitely take care.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice. Minakshi Iyer.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Meera Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Just one line answer with me. Detachment and surrender to God vanquish all fear from the heart.
Okay, so detachment from what, Mataji? Detachment from?
Detachment and surrender to God. Surrender to God.
And I am not able to.
Surrender to God.
हाँ वो ठीक है पर उससे पहले क्या बोला है? What did you say before that?
Detachment
Detachment from what?
of everything. Detachment from anything. Vanquish all fear from the heart.
Okay, so you are saying whenever there is a fearful condition, I want
We have to surrender to God.
Whenever there is fearful condition, then we must look at the condition from a detached perspective, and then give. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank-
Mataji.
The problem with my class is that nothing will get shoved under the rug. I am so sorry, because Krishna consciousness is about application. So if whatever we are reading and we are not able to apply, we just want to come out as scholarly people, then that's not dear to Krishna. Okay, I want to know what is it in your life, or you want to tell to people in across the world how Krishna consciousness is a practical function of life, lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. Okay, Meenakshi Iyer Mataji. Yes.
I would say, like, take shelter of Krishna by worshipping his lotus feet. We overcome fear. And then example, I can say Prahlad Maharaj. So despite the abusive nature of his father, he continued to have his devotion towards the Lord.
Very
And maybe Pandavas, I can't explain, like, even the Pandavas.
So you are telling that in case I am in a fearful situation, I must immediately think of a pure devotee? The example of a life of a pure devotee, is that what you're saying?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, very nice. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you very much.
Mataji,
Krishna.
can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes, and then Smita Mataji. Yes.
Yeah.
Doctor.
I am Dr. Rao. Mataji, I want to say only one thing. In time of adversities, or in time of calamities, or in times of stress, when I do chanting of Hare Krishna, by knowingly or unknowingly, it really gives a lot of peace and gives a solution for that particular problem or particular situation. And in future, we have to learn more about how better to surrender. But now I am getting one way we can say chanting of mantra that I am getting, and indirectly I am trying to surrender, and it is making me to surrender to Krishna. So this is what I learned in the past 1 week.
Very nice. So you are saying that whenever there is a fearful condition, look for the japa bag. Very nice.
Not fearful condition, any condition, anything, any stress.
Thanks. Because every condition is fearful. Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Dr. Rao. Smita Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Can you hear me?
You are a dictionary of Bhagavad Gita. She knows all 700 verses. Yeah, Mataji, you're muted.
Can you
Unmute.
hear me? Can you hear me now? Yeah. I am a retired person. I have changed my life. I started studying Gita, and I have started observing Karmanyavadhikarastha. I just do my duties without any expectations from children, grandchildren, and try to have an enjoyable life. I know Krishna consciousness is keep on doing your duties. Have a good faith in God. God is there.
Okay, I'm just trying to think, extract and practical. Mataji, the problem is keep on doing the duty. So if we consider,
Because that Karmandeva Adhikaraste is everybody has to do that. You don't expect anything. Keep on doing the duties. Be happy, and your life is really going to be enjoyable. I have all the time faith in God. I don't do idol worship, but I know that God is there and will help me.
thank you, Mataji. There's a little bit editing needed, but thank you in terms of the application. Expectation, Mataji, even with Krishna, we have expectation. It cannot, a soul as a living entity, we cannot be desireless, cannot. That's kind of an impossible.
With God, you can have expectation, not from others. That is what I'm saying. You should just remember that God is there. He will help you. Have a good faith in God.
Each one of you that you're going to chant Hare Krishna and read Bhagavad Gita. Expectation of each one of you, I have this expectation. There's a touch of Mayavad in your, but that's fine. Thank you, Mataji, for participating. That's fine. Okay, so we commence the class, and whosoever wants to speak, please speak also in the end. I am just going to lower all the hands because it gets very confusing for me. Who is now, who wants to talk or not? Okay. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can talk behind me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading Gita, chapter 1 text. Which text are we on?
32, I think.
I think 31
32.
we finished. Yeah.
Finished 31, 32.
32.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So what verses did we do last time? Last week, Friday, what verses did we do?
We did from 15.
Oh, really? So many we did.
19. From 19 to 31 we did.
From 19 to 31 we did.
31 we did.
Okay, thank you. So we came across 27th verse, which was compassion. So from 27 to 30, or more like 29, that Krishna is giving, Arjuna is giving a reason for compassion, that they are all the objects of my affection, Krishna. I can't kill them. You also killed. You killed a demon called Madhu, not your grandfather or not your guru. So how can I kill? So, and he is having bodily changes, right? The trembling, the sweating, the Gandiva is both slipping from his hands, and he's having hair standing on the end. So trembling and hair standing on the end can happen either in spiritual ecstasy or out of great fear. So Arjuna is again going to have trembling of body and standing of hair on the end in 11th chapter, when he will see Krishna's universal form. But that bodily changes are spiritual ecstasy, not because of this great fear in material condition. So we must recognize. Okay, and then he impresses Krishna. Now starts the second reason that Arjuna gives, and that is enjoyment. There's no enjoyment, Krishna. If I kill all my family members, then who am I going to enjoy with? Because our concept of this year Diwali is so different. Why? Because we can't be with each other for enjoyment. So enjoyment lies in association, not in isolation. So he's saying, I am going to be isolated because my family is going to be dead and gone. So where is the enjoyment? This is what he's going to say. So Smita Mataji, do you want to chant? Your vocabulary
Yes.
about 10
Yes,
Vijita.
yes, I will chant.
Mataji, you're muted.
Can you hear me? I do always reverse. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
नकांक्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च किं नो राज्येन गोविन्दं किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नो राज्यं भोगा सुखानि च तैमे व्यवस्थिता युक्ते प्राणां त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्राः तथैव च पितामहः मातुला श्वशुराः पौषा शाला सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् हन्तुमिच्छामि कन्तोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराजश्च हेतोः किं नु मयि कृते. Now I'll have to read from your so.
Mataji, this one also Nihatya Dhritarashtra Naha.
Nyapshadhat Rashtrana Kapriti Jnardana Papamevashraye Dasman Hatvaitan Atata Vinaha.
Translation.
I'll read translation, but I have to read from your. O Govinda, of what avail to us are kingdoms, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this battlefield. O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brother-in-law, and all relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties are standing before me, then why should I wish to kill them, though I may survive? O maintainer of all creatures, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the 3 words let alone this earth. Arjuna has addressed Lord Krishna as Govinda because Krishna is the object of all pleasures for cows and the senses. By using this significant word, Arjuna indicates what will satisfy his senses. Although Govinda is not meant for satisfying our senses, if we try to satisfy the senses of Govinda, then automatically our own senses are satisfied. Materially, everyone wants to satisfy his senses, and he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. The Lord will satisfy the senses of the living entities as such as one minute, wait, as such as they deserve, but not to the extent that they may covet. But when when one takes the opposite way, namely when one tries to satisfy the senses of Govinda without desiring to satisfy one's own senses, then by the grace of Govinda, all desires of the living entity are satisfied. Arjuna's deep affection for community and family members is exhibited here partly due to his natural compassion for them. He is therefore not prepared to fight. Everyone wants to show his opulence to friends and relatives, but Arjuna fears that all his relatives and friends will be killed in the battlefield and he will be unable to share his opulence after victory. This is typical calculation of material life. The transcendental life is, however, different. Since a devotee wants to satisfy the desire of the Lord, he can, Lord willing, accept all kinds of opulence for the service of the Lord. And if the Lord is not willing, he should not accept, he should not accept a farthing. Arjuna did not want to kill his relatives, and if there were any need to kill them, he desired that Krishna will kill them personally. At this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before their coming into the battlefield, and that he was only to become an instrument for Krishna. This fact is disclosed in following chapters. As a natural devotee of the Lord, Arjuna did not like to retaliate against his miscreant cousins and brothers, but it was the Lord's plan that they should all be killed. The devotees of the Lord does not retaliate against the wrongdoer, but the Lord does not tolerate any mischief done to the devotee by the miscreants. The Lord can excuse a person on his own account, but he excuses no one who has done harm to his devotees. Therefore, the Lord was determined to kill the miscreants, although Arjuna wanted to excuse them.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. So he's giving a very valid, this is like a kind of a proclamation. I think when I read this, I think Arjuna is throwing a tantrum on Krishna. Oh, Krishna, of what avail to us our kingdoms, happiness, or even life itself, when all those who for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this battlefield? Oh, Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal, so he's counting teacher, fathers, sons, grandfather, maternal uncles, father-in-law, grandsons, brother-in-law, and all relatives, few and breathless, are ready to give up their lives and properties, are standing before me, then why should I kill them? Why should I do it? Though I may survive. O maintainer of all creatures, so that's Janardhana. Maintainer of all creatures is Janardhana, meaning of the word Janardhana. So addressing Krishna as Govinda, he's addressing Krishna as Madhusudana, he's addressing Krishna as Janardhana. Oh my Krishna. So whenever Arjuna addresses Krishna with Krishna's specific name, there is a reason behind it. So maintainer of all creatures, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange of the three worlds, let alone this earth. So he's throwing a tantrum. I am not going to fight, even if you give me the three worlds in exchange. Forget about just this planet Earth. So Govinda means one who gives pleasure to senses and cows. So here Prabhupada is saying that we are supposed to give pleasure to Krishna's senses, not that Krishna is my order supplier and I go with the list to Krishna and I say, Krishna, do this, and I will come back with a coconut on as if Krishna is lacking coconut. Krishna is lacking coconut or some money or something in exchange, I will do these many fastings. Do give me this, give me this, give me this, give me this, and this. That's it. You know, my Guru Maharaj travels to London a lot. So he was in Bhaktivedanta Manor. And he said, when Mataji came to him with her husband, no, that was, so this is different. So Maharaj heard, he was offering prayers to the deities. And there was this mother who with her son and offering the prayers to the deities. So she was telling the deities, Krishna, I told you that my son should get A+ in all subjects. Why did you give him A in one subject? Krishna, I promised I'm going to bring this to you. Now I'm deleting this and this from my offerings. So this is business dealing. Okay, please, that's fine. At least she's very pious that she's coming to Krishna. It's not easy to go to Krishna. The very pious soul. But Krishna does not like, Krishna's, we are not at Mother Yashoda level. That if we don't feed Krishna, then Krishna will starve. You know, Mother Yashoda is meditating like that, right? That if I don't feed my child, that my child will starve. I need to feed. I need to make butter. We are not at that level. We are doing an exchange of business, and Krishna does not like that. Anyway, so Prabhupada is reinforcing that materially everyone wants to satisfy his senses, and he wants God to be the order supplier for such satisfaction. So Krishna's position is very unique because Krishna considers, when I go and pray to Krishna, Krishna give me this, give me this, give me this, that's fine. Krishna will still accept me, but he will consider that how it is going to affect my journey back home. And if it is going to affect, then he may not give. But other demigods, they don't consider, they just give. That is why a person who desires success in fruitive activities gets into the habit of demigod worship. That's one of the reasons. And another thing he's saying is Madhusudana, right? Madhusudana means killer of the demon Madhu. So he's addressing Krishna Madhusudana by saying that Krishna, you killed a demon called Madhu, but you're telling me to kill this list of people. So if I kill them and they're no more, then how will I live? Who will I enjoy with? So Prabhupada is writing, this is a typical calculation of material life. Me and mine. My life is made of me and my family, or me and my family, or if there's a good leader and my country. If there is a further good leader with magnanimous heart and my these nations, or the whole world. But no one is putting Krishna in the center. And the last thing he said is Janardhana. So Janardhana means he maintains everyone. But why doesn't he himself kill? Why is he telling Arjuna to kill? Because he's the maintainer, so he can be the destroyer also. Now, why Arjuna should be killing? You can do it on your own, Krishna. So these are the three meanings of the words that he's using. Okay. This is a very nice verse. Should we go to the next one? I hope you.
I have a doubt.
Mataji,
Yes.
even I have a question.
Okay. Go ahead.
Vijita,
Okay. Yes, Vijita.
Yes, Mataji, my question. No, on the next page. Mataji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. This is the next page.
Yes. Oh, sorry. No, because it was showing me your internet connection is unstable, so that is why I asked. Here, at this point, he did not know that Krishna had already killed them before they're coming into the battlefield. But they are means I didn't understand.
You're muted. You didn't understand this line? That this
Yes,
point.
I didn't understand this. I didn't understand just this much. Krishna had already killed them before they're coming into the battlefield.
Anyone wants to answer her? Anybody in the class wants to answer Vijita? What does it mean?
Mataji. Can I answer, Mataji?
Yes, but 1 second. Mahati, you have an answer for your friend?
I think Mataji in the 11th chapter when she is showing Vishwarupa Darshana, Virat
Your voice is far away.
Yeah, even for me.
I think now you are able to hear Mataji.
Your voice is very low.
Now Mataji, you are able to hear.
Okay, go ahead. We can make out. Yes.
I think in that 11th chapter when he is showing Vishwarupa Darshana, then only he showed that everyone I'm taking just, I'm allotting you to kill. I have already taken them like that. In that means, I think Mataji.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. Okay, Kartik Prabhu. Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, like what he is telling is Duryodhana and Duryodhanadis, Krishna is, it is Krishna's plan to execute, like make Arjuna fight and then kill them. So, so that's why he has done everything by himself. Whatever action that is happening is already happened. He has already killed them by his potency, like what to say, like. Um, so it is his plan actually. So he has done already execution only. He is just making Arjuna a tool to execute that one. So we are all like dolls, like in his hand, like he just executes everything already done.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Mahati.
Thank you. So Krishna says in 11th chapter, Nimitta Matran Bhavya Savya Sachin. Nimitta Matran Bhavya Savya Sachin means you just become an instrument in executing my will. So Krishna has already willed that they are going to die. No one is going to go back. It's just that, okay, like on a very subtle level, let's say your mama tells you, Vijita, I have already cooked the food. You just heat it up and serve it to the family. I'm going to be going out to do the shopping. So she's already done everything, but you become an instrument in executing her desire.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Hare-
Sudha Mata.
Mataji, my question is regarding this section where it says Govinda, because Arjuna addresses Lord Krishna as Govinda because Krishna is the object of all pleasures for cows in the senses. Why cows are being considered so separately than senses? Like, I mean, is it just that, they're referring cows with along with all animals, or is there a specific reason why it says cows and then senses?
Very nice. So yes, so go word means cows and go also means senses. There are two meanings of the word. So cows are very, very dear to Krishna. There is a prayer also. Brahmanya Devaya, Go Brahmana Hitaya, Jagaditaya Krishnaya, Govindaya Namo Namaha. So very dear to the Brahmanas, to the senses and to the cows. So cow protection is actually a Vedic culture. If you see, Krishna's foster parent is Nand Maharaj. Nand Maharaj is belongs to Vaishya community. What are the four duties of a Vaishya community? They take care of the agriculture, cows, trading, and banking. So cow culture is like cultivating a cow is actually a Vedic culture. Cow is a complete animal. Very simple. Eats grass. It's and also gives milk. And from the milk, so many things can come up. And every part of the body of the cow is sacred. There is no other animal where every part of the body of that animal is sacred. There is no other animal like that.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna. Should we go to the next? Dyuti Mataji, your hand is raised. You have a question? Hare Krishna.
Mataji? No, Mataji, I don't have a question. I mean, I just wanted to answer to Vijita's question. As far my understanding is concerned, what I feel is that, Mataji, that Krishna was already, when Arjuna was not ready to fight the battle and he was giving reasons to Lord Krishna for not fighting the battle. So Krishna wanted to tell to Arjuna that and make him convince him that he had already killed all the, relatives earlier, like Bhishma, Pitama, and Duryodhan, and all others who were present in the battle. But Krishna wanted Arjuna to fight the battle. So when Arjuna refused to fight the battle, then Krishna said, even if you don't fight the battle, these people are doomed to die. That's what my understanding is concerned, Mataji. Correct me if I'm wrong. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Perfect. Thank you. Yes, Vijay, I can read the next one. Papam Eva Shreya. Maybe she's disconnected. Okay,
Should I
go ahead. I think she's back. Ji. Go ahead, Vijita.
पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वैतान् आततायिन तस्मान् नारावयं हन्तुं धातराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव.
Very nice.
Translation: sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Purport: according to Vedic injunctions, there are 6 kinds of aggressors. A poison giver, one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, fourth, one who plunders riches, fifth, one who occupies another's land, and sixth, one who kidnaps a wife. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting for any ordinary man, but Arjuna was not an ordinary person. He was saintly by character, and therefore he wanted to deal with them in saintliness. The kind of saintliness, however, is not for a Kshatriya. Although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. For example, Lord Rama was so saintly that people were anxious to live in his kingdom. But Lord Rama never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor against Rama because he kidnapped Rama's wife, Sita. But Lord Rama gave him sufficient lessons, unparalleled in the history of the world. In Arjuna's case, however, one should consider the special type of aggressors, namely his own grandfather. 1 minute, his own grandfather, own teacher, friends, sons. Man, it's moving.
Sorry, grandsons.
No, I'm reading on mobile. No, so if, own grandfather, own teacher, friends, sons, grandsons, etc. Because of them, Arjuna thought that he should not take the severe steps necessary against ordinary aggressors. Besides that, saintly persons are advised to forgive. Such injunctions for saintly persons are more important than any political emergency. Arjuna considered that rather than kill his own kinsmen for political reasons, it would be better to forgive them on grounds of religion and saintly behavior. He did not therefore consider such killing profitable simply for the matter of temporary bodily happiness. After all, kingdoms or pleasures derived therefrom are not permanent. So why should he risk his life and eternal salvation by killing his own kinsmen? Arjuna addressing Krishna as Madhava, or the husband of the goddess of fortune. It's also significant in this connection. He wanted to point out Krishna that as husband of the goddess of fortune, he should not have to induce Arjuna to take up a matter which would ultimately bring about misfortune. Krishna, however, never brings misfortune to anyone, to say nothing of his devotees.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. So this is a third reason Arjuna is giving sinful activity. So this is the way we should communicate. We can learn to communicate. That first of all, express my own desire, and then also give references from authentic literature. We are reading Shastra, so Shastric references, and again cover it up with my own desire. What is my decision based on what I started with and based on what the references are showing. So this is how we build a case, right? So he's saying sin will overcome us, and he's addressing Krishna as Madhava, or husband of goddess of fortune. But there are 6 kind of aggressors which we must attack. This is actually from first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is one of the questions also. So please memorize: the one who gives a poison giver, one who sets other person's house on fire, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders the riches, or who occupies another's land, or one who kidnaps a wife. So these 6 kind of aggressors need to be attacked. Actually, Kauravas did everything. They gave poison, right? They gave poison to Bhima, the cake. One who sets fire, they made a lac house and told them, Dhritarashtra told Kunti and her sons to go and live there. Attacks with deadly weapons, so many times they did it. Who plunders riches? Definitely they plundered the riches of Pandavas. That is why Mahabharata is happening. Occupies another land, that also they did. Kidnaps a wife, so they tried to kidnap the respect of Draupadi.
Draupadi, right? Yeah.
So the Kauravas did everything. Or Kurus, not Kauravas, I'm sorry, the Kurus, the Duryodhana party, they did everything, all 6. So it is a Dharma Yuddha. Some people say, one Mataji was very, very emotional in one of my classes. She said, Arjuna is again and again saying that he does not want, which that you will read, I'll give you, that Arjuna is again and again saying, Krishna, I don't want the fight. Krishna, I will go to the forest and meditate on you. Krishna, I am okay. I can live by just eating the fruits falling on the ground in the forest. Krishna, I have no desire to enjoy all this. Krishna, we must forgive them. So why is Krishna inducing Arjuna to fight? Manish, she was very emotional about it. Very, very emotional. Why Krishna is inducing him to kill? So we have to follow the Shastras. And Shastras are something which Krishna says. That is why there is a huge difference between morality and spirituality. When you will come to the second chapter, I will give you the project. Morality and spirituality. Actually, there is no difference, but in mundane sense, what we think is moral code is what is pleasing to oneself or others. But actually, really, the morality is what Krishna says, and so is the spirituality. So this kind of a behavior is not expected from a Kshatriya, that I'll go and live in the forest. It is not, and that is why we need a guru who can really tell us that what is my real nature. Even psychologically, it is important to recognize what is my inclination. What do I like? Sometimes we don't know. So Lord Rama was so saintly that he was anxious to live. People were anxious to live in his kingdom, but he taught nice lesson to Ravana for kidnapping Mother Sita. Just one wife he had, and he kidnapped her, and he taught her the lesson very nicely for all of us to remember for forever. I guess that's it. So special kind of aggressors have to be killed, but he's again this Lord Rama attacked Ravana, which was a demon, and not his wife. But Arjuna's position is that he has to attack his own relatives, like grandfather, teacher, friends, grandsons, and everybody. So the position is very intricate. But sometimes to please Krishna, one does it. I can give you a practical example. I have seen many times in India. A boy from the family becomes a brahmachari. I think I told this example. So he wants to become a brahmachari, but the whole family gets a shock that why are you becoming a brahmachari? There is so many responsibilities to be dealt with. What are you going to be doing? They think that person is going to be a burden on the society by becoming a brahmachari, because for them the society means work in the office, get a degree, get some money, have a wife, have children, and live. So that is the kind of life that they want to give to this boy. But this boy is attracted to Krishna consciousness now and wants to make his path back home very, very like clean and crystal clear, no distractions. So there is a conflict of interest. So So this person, this boy goes and becomes a brahmachari. He pushes against all odds and goes. Okay, so is there any sin? Because now this person has gone against the family, the society. Is there any sin? If he really went to become a real brahmachari, then there is no sin. Actually, this person will go back home, back to Godhead. There is no sin. So it is like walking on a razor's edge. So remember the 6 aggressors. And Vijita can read. Nirja Mataji, do you have a question?
Yes, Mataji. When it comes to brahmachari, so you're saying the family, they'll feel very bad, but that is true, right, Mataji? They know only that they would have had their own dreams for this person, and when he suddenly wants to move out, they'll from that perspective, they'll feel bad about it, right?
Yeah, so I'm not saying their feelings are invalid, but I'm validating that what this boy is doing is not against the scriptural injunctions. Their feelings are valid, that's fine, but so it is difficult. Sometimes spirituality is difficult. Okay. I'm not judging anyone. I'm saying that but I'm just trying to make a point that if he, like, let's say Arjuna does not want to fight, but he will fight, he will kill, but will he incur any sinful reaction? No, because he did on the order of Krishna. Similarly, if this boy wants to become a brahmachari, and it is real, not like fanatism, that not like because of frustration of the material world, not because of that, but because of real attraction to Krishna. There is a difference. Okay, some people take sannyas or talk about taking sannyas. This is the household talk, right? I will take sannyas because I'm fed up. That fed up reason is not going to work for long. That because that person is not given up that tendency. But I will take sannyas because I want to serve Krishna with full dedication. That will work. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you, Mataji.
Vijita.
Yes, Mataji. यद्यपि एते न पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकं कथं न ज्ञेनम् अस्माभिः पापाद् अस्मान् निवर्तितं कुलक्षया कृतं दोषं प्रापश्याद्भिर्जनार्दन. Translation. O Janardana, although these men, overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, with knowledge of the sin, engage in these acts? Purport. A Kshatriya is not supposed to refuse to battle or gamble when he is so invited by some rival party. Under such obligation, Arjuna could not refuse to fight because he was challenged by the party of Duryodhana. In this connection, Arjuna considered that the other party might be blind to the effects of such a challenge. Arjuna, however, could see the evil consequences and could not accept the challenge. Obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but when the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. Considering all these pros and cons, Arjuna decided not to fight.
Thank you very much. So very important.
Mataji, was my voice breaking in the middle?
Yeah, a little bit, but that's okay. So
okay.
Janardana, so this is a reason where we start discussing destruction of the dynasty. So we discussed enjoyment in verse 30 to 35. We discussed the reason for sinful reaction in verse 36. Now 37 onwards starts the destruction of dynasty hierarchy. He's saying that these people are overtaken by greed and they see no fault in killing one's own family or quarreling with friends. So they're actually going to destroy the dynasty. We know with the knowledge of sin, why should we engage in these acts? So actually a Kshatriya, nature of a Kshatriya is he cannot say no. If they're challenged to fight or they're challenged to gamble, they have to say yes. Don't worry, there is no Kshatriya in Kali Yuga. Kalo Shudra Sambhava. Vasudev says everybody in Kali Yuga is a born Shudra. So we don't have to worry about these things. But it is revealed in the scriptures. And but the obligation is actually binding when the effect is good, but then the effect is otherwise, then no one can be bound. This is one takeaway point. So Arjuna is saying, I'm not gonna fight. So we'll now know more about hierarchy of destruction of dynasty. Mahati, your voice was very low before, but try now.
Mataji, one question, Mataji, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, but there is no Kshatriya, means other three Varnas are still there, Mataji, now?
It's very rare because Vyasdev says Kalo Shudra Sambhava. It's very rare. Brahmana, Pathan, Yajan, Dan, Pratikya. 7 activities are given for Brahmanas in 18 chapter. 4 are given for Kshatriyas, 3 are given for Vaishyas, and 1 is given for Shudra. So everyone is going to college, everyone is earning a degree. Not everyone, most people. And then everyone is begging for a job or begging to open a business. Brahmana means no accepting of a salary. So if you see someone like that, actually, when I lived with devotees in the temple, I was amazed at how they are like maintaining themselves. No one is working but living such a nice life just by serving Krishna. I was amazed for what Prabhupada has done. So anyone who goes to the office and asks for money is not considered as anything else. Okay, this is scriptures. The other 3 are practically non-existent, but the tendency is there. We have a tendency to become a Kshatriya or Brahmana or Vaishya, but that tendency has to be recognized by a guru and has to be brought out. We cannot imagine in our own mind that I am this, I am that. Okay, it's a training. As much as if somebody wants to be an engineer, the tendency is there that yes, we can be an engineer, or the intelligence is there in the mind, but still the person has to go through proper training under proper teachers, right?
Mataji. So Varna Shankara already is happened in our society.
Of course, and it is going to get more and more worse. That Varna Shankara, unwanted population. Of course, 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam describes the future of Kali Yuga. Right now, the expectancy is 100 years, right? Most of the people are not living for 100 years, but that is the expectancy. But as the Kali Yuga will progress, then the person who is 20 some years old will be considered a great grandparent. Some 20 some years old, great grandparents. And the clothes will get shorter. There will be no milk, no grain, no rice, no sugar, no fruit, no pulp, just seeds. And the people will be very short in height. And they will consider that keeping long hair is the definition of a beauty. So all these features are written in 11th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada said, get out now only.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Rajni Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, Mataji. Sorry, please ignore me if this is a, I don't know if it is an ignorant question, but I have a question. So supposing, so when you're saying that a person who is taking salary is not considered, as a Kshatriya, or who is not considered belonging to the person, he's not a devotee, but then how will he live? If everyone, I'm not saying he shouldn't, for a livelihood, if a person is working for a livelihood, he has to survive, right? So if you can be devotional and also work, or if you totally devote yourself towards the path of Krishna, then how will you survive?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling now. My experience, Mataji, next vacation, go and live with devotees in Bhaktivedanta manner. Okay, and then just study their life. I lived with devotees for 4 months, and I could not imagine, like, I had the same question, like, I'm running a day out and in, like, to my work, like, take the car out, go zoom, then at the end come back, then go back. It's like these devotees are simply like chanting Krishna, worshipping Krishna according to the rules and regulations. Everything is provided. Magical. It's magical. We don't hear about factories and jobs and all that in upper planetary systems, in heavenly planets, right? We don't. Why? Because mode of goodness is prominent over there. why we have this tendency in our mind that I need to work in order to live is a product of the mode of passion. So four Varnas are only Shudra is there, others are not there, but Vaishnava is beyond all that. Okay, Mataji, Srila Prabhupada has given this benediction that one who worships Krishna, chants Hare Krishna Mahamantra, no matter whichever political, or I'm sorry, society wise category they may belong to, but they are called as Vaishnava, like a devotee of Vishnu. So that category is not under four Varnas: Brahmana, Vaishya, Shudra, or Kshatriya. Okay, so if you are and you're
Mataji, they're all higher, probably, reached through their level of, probably they're all higher prabhus, and they're all like Swamijis. But for a normal person, or for a person who's leading a family life, how will they get into the mode, totally leaving all their? So doesn't that mean then you're not doing your family duties, and totally, you're going into the path of that also is, then you're not doing your family duties, then it becomes I don't know,
no, I know. That's why I know your confusion. Your question is valid, but that is why I'm saying that we need a guru to guide us. I cannot just concoct in my mind that, oh, I'm a Brahmana. Oh, maybe I'm a Vaishya. Oh, maybe I'm Kshatriya. I meet so many people, they say we are from Ramachandra's family, our great grand, whatever, 7 generations ago. So Ramachandra was Kshatriya, so I'm also a Kshatriya. No, you're not a Kshatriya because it's not family, it's a guna and karma. So, Mataji, don't get confused because you are on the path of becoming a Vaishnava. You're not on the path of becoming a Brahmana or a Vaishya or a Kshatriya. So, even when Arjuna was using his skills as a Kshatriya to fight, he was actually not fighting as a Kshatriya. He was fighting as a Vaishnava because he was doing a service to Krishna, right? He was
yes.
very. And we hear in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ramananda Rai. Ramananda Rai was a governor of Mysore. Madras, governor of Madras, Raman Rai, but was very exalted devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and and was married and had family. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu spends one-on-one conversation time with him because he's a Vaishnava. He's not worried whether you're working, whether you're not working, whether what. I am bringing this topic up because we need to get out of these labels and break free that I am Kshatriya, I am Vaishya, I am this, I am that, and become a Vaishnava. We are united over there, okay? The caste system which is prevalent in the today's society, I am this Brahmana. There are different kinds of Brahmanas also I'm hearing nowadays. I am that Brahmana, I'm Kashmiri Brahmana, I'm this nobody. No. Shudra. Now become a Vaishnava. Okay. So our intention is not to demean anyone. We have acharyas who were working. Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhupada was working as a magistrate in British India. He was so efficient in his job that the British government actually built a railway track from his home to the court so he can reach on time and come back on time. So he used to work. He was a magistrate, Bhaktivinoda Thakur Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was working. He had a chemical factory right before he took sannyas. So I'm not saying give up your job. I am saying give up the designation. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Vijita, go ahead.
Yes,
you
Mataji.
You read?
Yeah, I read.
Sorry, then Mahati, go ahead. You both are like friends.
Hare Krishna Mataji, am I audible?
Yes, but it appears like you're speaking in a pipe. But okay, bring mic near your mouth.
Yes, Mataji. Kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharma sanatanaha dharme naste kulam krutsam adharmo bhibhavatyat uta. Translation: with the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irregular practice. Purport: in the system of Varnashrama institution, there are many principles of religious traditions to help members of the family grow properly and attain spiritual values. The elder members are responsible for such purifying processes in the family, beginning from birth to death. But on the death of the elder members, such family traditions of purification may stop, and the remaining younger family members may develop irreligious habits and thereby lose their chance for spiritual salvation. Therefore, for no purpose should the elder members of the family be slain. Hare
Very nice.
Krishna.
Right. So this is the first he said that this is a sinful act, because the greed is the reason behind the war, not the religious. It's not a religious war. It is a greed war. And what's going to happen that the people will die, and when elders of the family will die, then the family tradition will be vanquished, because in our family, our families, the elders of the family tell us what to do, what not to do. Right? If they're not there, then how will the younger people come to know what to do and what not to do? And they will become irreligious. This is Arjuna saying. And there are 11 sanskaras, right, for a human being, even before the time of birth. Garbhadan sanskar, even before the mother becomes pregnant, they have to go through, mother and father have to go through a sanskar just to have a child. It's called Garbhadan sanskar. So a pious soul is attracted to the womb, who can become Krishna conscious. So that Garbhadan sanskar is the first sanskar, which even begins from before the birth, and the last sanskar is Antim sanskar. So the last cremation ground. So all these 11, there are 11 there. So there are 9 more in the middle. You know that Annaprasanna or Vidyarambha, all these are sanskaras are there. Why? What is the need to do these sanskars? Because it purifies one's existence. So he's saying that when elders are gone, who's going to tell all this? First, he said this is a greed-driven war. Next, he says that there is going to be misfortune. Next, he says the elders are going to be gone. And elders are going to be gone, then there will be no religious practices. Then he will say what? We'll see. Yes, who wants to read this? Who has not read yet? Kasturi Mataji, are you here today? Hare Krishna Mataji. You want to read? Mataji, you can unmute yourself. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm not good at reading Sanskrit, Mataji.
No problem, Mataji. Try.
Yeah.
Your friend.
Dharma. Sorry, Mataji.
Usha Mataji is not your friend.
Yeah, she is my sambandhi.
Okay.
Adharma Vibhav Krishna Pradyanti Kula Striyaha Strishu Dussava Vasaneya Jete Varna Sankara. When religion is prominent in the family of Krishna, the women of the family become corrupt. And from the degradation of womanhood, descendant of Vrani, comes unwanted progeny. You want me to read the purport also?
Are you able to
read? Yeah, I am able to see. Good population in human society is the basic principle for peace, prosperity, and spiritual progress in life. And the Varnashrama religious principles were so designed that the good population would prevail in society for the general spiritual progress of state and community. Such population depends on the chastity and faithfulness of its womanhood. As children are very prone to be misled, women are similarly very prone to degradation. Therefore, both children and women require protection by the elder members of the family. By being engaged in various religious practices, women will not be misled into adultery. According to Chanakya Pandit, women are generally not very intelligent and therefore not trustworthy. So the different family traditions of religious activities should always engage them, and thus their chastity and devotion will give birth to a good population eligible for participating in the Varnashram system. On the failure of such Varnashram dharma, naturally the women become free to act and mix with men, and thus adultery is indulged in at the risk of unwanted population. Irresponsible men also provoke adultery in society, and thus unwanted children fled the human race at the risk of war and war and pestilence.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nicely read.
Thank you. Mm.
So religion. So he said first that it's a greed-driven war. Next, sinful reaction. Next, elder. Next, sanskaras. Next, no one will be able to give protection to the woman. All the eligible men in the war will die. And when women are degraded, then Varna Shankara is coming out, not Varna Ashrama. That is the power of a woman. In 10th chapter, Krishna says, I am 7 things in a woman. Does anyone remember? What are some of the things you may remember? What Krishna says, I am 7 things in a woman, in his opulences. Anyone remember? Anyone? No? Okay, he says fame, fortune, fine speech, intelligence, steadfastness, patience, and memory. So these are the 7 things he says, I am in a woman. So steadfastness is a sign of chastity. Chastity and faithfulness is a weapon of a woman. It's a weapon. So it has to be used very carefully. You know, if someone has a gun in the house, they're not going to be like taking it out loosely and hanging it as a, and keeping it very easily accessible for people to come and play with it, right? Because it's a weapon. So like that, chastity and faithfulness is a weapon of a woman. And if it is primed and the woman is properly trained, she can give rise to varnashrama of society. The whole society will be very worthy because of this woman was nice. There is a saying also now that if a mother in a house is educated, the whole house is educated because she's educated. If the father is educated, probably not. Because I remember in India when there was this girl literacy campaign, there used to be advertisements like that. But it is true actually. So this is the meaning of a woman, that keep her protected and prime her good qualities. And this is going to be the result. But we see in foreign countries where the women are allowed to mix freely with the men, then this weapon is not used properly. Right. Then what happened? Srila Prabhupada analyzed it. In Texas airport, he was interviewed by one of the American journalists. And she asked that why in your society the women are not allowed to mix so freely with the other people. Then he said, because woman needs protection and I get them married and the husband takes good care of the wife and there are good children and they all become Krishna conscious. That's better. She said, but what about women liberation? He said, that's all fanaticism. How so? Okay, so women liberation. Okay, she goes out of the house, mixes with the society. The society is going to take leverage. We see it. Whoever is sitting out of India can vouch on with me. And then what happens? The woman gets no marriage. Woman gets pregnant. The man goes away because there is no responsibility. Then what happens? She goes to the government and begs for aid. Give me help. Give me medical insurance. Give me food stamps. Give me this. But I am a lone woman with so many children. In the beginning, the contamination was that she was allowed to mix because the family structure was so baby. Right? Whoever is Rajni Mataji, you are in UK. I am in America. I can say so many. My God, half of the America is living in medical finance. What is assistance, public assistance? What is happening in UK?
It's almost the same, Mataji. I agree.
And it's mostly women. Why? Because they are misused. Because they are like children. We cannot let our children out on the street. Can you let a child out on the street and sleep nicely? It's very, very dangerous, right? Like that, the woman, when she's young, should be protected by a father or elders of the family. In her youthhood, by a good husband. And in her old age, by her children, sons, specifically. If there are no sons, at least family should give her protection. Don't leave. Now, this woman is different than a woman who is spiritually advanced. We see Mother Kunti had no reason to go to exile. She was not told to go to the exile with Pandavas. But she followed this Varnashrama system and she went to the exile with her sons, 5 sons. But she is spiritually advanced woman. Even Draupadi was not told to go to the exiles. Even only 5 Pandavas were told, you go. But she also followed that my protection is in the hands of my husband. I have to go. So she went. Or we can see Mother Sati. She also is such an exalted lady. She's a very exalted devotee of Krishna, very, very exalted. But she stays herself under the protection of her husband. So how glorious she becomes. Devahuti, she's also very advanced. She gave birth to Kapila Dev Muni, but she also stayed under the protection of her husband, Kardam Muni, until Kardam Muni took sannyas and gave her caretaking to Kapila Dev. So many examples are there in the Shastras, and these women are exalted devotees. They can live independently, but they are not claiming independence because they want to follow the Vedic ways. Any questions, or should we go ahead? We have 3 more verses. I think we can finish the chapter.
Yes, we can.
Some hands are raised. You have questions, Duty Mataji, Shamala Srinivas Mataji.
No, Mataji.
Yes, I have a question, Mataji. Can I ask?
Go ahead.
Okay, in this 40th verse, we have mentioned about Chanakya Pandit saying that women are not intelligent and not trustworthy. But then Krishna's qualities, which you just mentioned, the 7 qualities, in that they are intelligent and they are steadfast. I mean, like they'll be having a steadiness. No? Don't you think it is a contradictory thing happening?
No, because he's saying women are generally not very intelligent. Generally, talking about a general woman, not a spiritually inclined woman. You are asking a very mild question. When I read this, I actually circled and temple asked Prabhu, what is this? So he explained it to me, gave me the references. So appreciate you for being so nice and mild. So Chanakya Pandit is telling Mataji, you know, I was listening one day. So this therapist, she clinical psychologist, she was telling that whenever a woman comes to her and she says, I have a secret to tell you. So it's really not really like and it's not really like she's the first person to hear the secret from this lady. Because for a woman, secret things, she would have told her mother, her father, her sister, her friend, or some other people. But to her, it feels like it's a secret because she's not enough people. So that is what it means, that you cannot trust because they will go and tell. If a man comes, she was just sharing her experience. If a man comes to her and says, I have a secret to tell you, then she is really the first person to hear this particular story from a man. So she says, I get amazed that how men are like very strong in the society. Like women in the society are expected to be very good appearing. Physical appearance is a very taboo for a woman. Like that, and emotional intactness, the emotional strength or mental strength, taboo.
Mataji, your voice is breaking. It is not audible properly.
Oh, so maybe the mics are. I'm just gonna mute everyone for one time, please. Okay. Now is it okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Heard. Okay. So, Mataji, general woman, what does a poor, like simple woman want in her life? What does she want? Good husband, right? Good food to eat, good children, good house, and good saris, good jewelry, right? That's what she wants. So, Chanakya Pandit is talking about general woman, not the exclusive class like Queen Kunti or Mother Draupadi or Mother Devahuti or Mother Sati. When we read prayers of Queen Kunti in chapter 8 of first canto, Srila Prabhupada gives benediction that every woman can become like Kunti. Every woman can become like her. That means that we are not like her right now. Okay, so that's what it means. Chanakya Pandit says women, political leaders, politician. There's one more person who we can, meat eaters. We cannot trust 3 people, women, politicians, and meat eaters. But that is in general, okay? So, but you are different because you are a Vaishnavi. So you don't belong here. But in general, if you go out in the world and you want to communicate with someone who's not interested in Srimad Bhagavatam, but who's simple hearted, who's living a very simple life, but just doesn't have time for this, but rather would watch some TV shows, that's that for them. Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. Okay, so should we go? Rajni Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, Mataji. My question is again, when we are talking about the women, even when you take, pious women, the sacred women, like probably not even women, we can call them gods like Sita and Draupadi. If you take them, even in their lives, if you see, so Sita was such a pious woman. In her life, she's got a husband, God, Rama himself as her husband. But then if you see, she's got married. Soon after that, she goes to the forest. Then after, when she gets pregnant, again, she's sent back to the forest. So the whole life of Sita, and then after that, she's again, taken by Bhudevi, Sita's mother, right? She has to go through the Agni Pariksha. All that, again, she's also been tested again, whole through her life. If you see that way, I don't know. So her life, where is that, where is the, she has to go through every phase of difficulty with all that she has tolerated, but what is, what is her fault to go through all these things? She's not had. And even if you see Draupadi has to satisfy 5 husbands. She has to, obviously she's one, because Pandavas, 5 of them. Kunti has, because she has given her, a word without knowing that they had married Draupadi and brought Arjuna had married, so she has to satisfy 5 of them. So I don't get it. So she, there again, the woman, my question is, she has, even if you see the sacred women of those scriptures, they are also going through so much of it. So why is that? It's not easy. Life of a woman is not easy, is it?
So Mataji, that's a material vision. That's a nice vision. That's, you're having a lot of empathy in your heart. The spiritual vision is the real Sita was never touched. The Ravana only captured the shadow of Sita. He could not touch the real Sita. She went back to Vaikuntha actually. She went back to Ayodhya. Between Vaikuntha and Goloka Vrindavan, there is Ayodhya. So she was not, he could not even touch. But this is for us to learn. All the pastimes that happen in the life of pure devotees is an example for us that even the pure devotees' life is not free from dangers. But what are they doing? Are they cursing God? Are they becoming more attached to Krishna? So we should take their life as an example. Draupadi's other name is Krishna, 2 A's at the end. Means that she's blessed by Krishna always. So she doesn't need a husband actually, but she follows the Vedic ways just to teach us that this is the way we have to follow unless and until we are in this body. So their lives are very different. We cannot understand what is going on in a pure devotee's life if we are not pure devotees. Like for example, if you want to, if you go to Greek, okay, and somebody is talking to you in Greek language, they can go on saying whatever they want unless and until you also speak the same language, you will not understand, right? So like that, we cannot understand the life of a pure devotee unless and until we actually become a pure devotee. So till then, we just take the shelter and we pay our obeisances and we take lessons. We cannot understand. No, they're not going through the suffering. It's a very deep topic, Mataji. It's my favorite topic. There's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 14th chapter, verse 8. Tatyanukampa shushumikshamano, bhunjana evatma kritam vipakam, hridvagva purvir vidadham namaste, jivita yo mukti pade sadaya bhag, tadvag visargo janataga vipla. So Mataji, what does it verse say is that for a pure devotee, there is no suffering. It's an opportunity to serve Krishna more. We think it is a suffering because our vision is what is life, how the life should be. And if the life is not going that way, then okay, I'm hitting a roadblock. It was not supposed to be like this. Oh my God, now what? So we get bewildered. But a pure devotee, minute to minute, is just finding opportunities to serve Krishna. When an obstacle comes in the life of a pure devotee, they think, I am not a pure devotee, but I have learned They think that this is an opportunity to serve Krishna more. Now Krishna is standing in front of me in the form of a fear or a problem. So now how can I surrender more? What should I do? What should I do? Pray more, propagate this movement more, talk about Krishna more, chant more. What should I do? Not like they're going to go in depression cycle that now I'm going to die. No. There's a story from Christian world. My Guru Maharaj tells this. I think I told this story. Saint Francis.
I can't remember, Mataji.
Saint Francis.
No,
Mataji.
No. So Saint Francis is very famous, right, in Christian world. He was a war veteran. He used to fight wars, but fighting wars, he got fed up looking at the bloodshed, that he actually started learning about Christianity, and he became so elevated that he actually started a movement, Saint Francis movement, which is actually worldwide famous. It's very famous in UK, Saint Francis. So Saint Francis was one day sitting with his disciples. They call each other brothers, like we call each other Mataji, Prabhuji, like Vedic language. They call each other brothers and sisters. So he asked his disciples, what do you think is the thing that you enjoy the most in devotional life? I think I have told this story. May not be in this class, but I think. So if, let's say I ask you this question, what do you think you enjoy the most in devotional service? Someone will say eating prasadam. That could be a universal truth actually. Eating prasadam, or chanting Hare Krishna, or reading Bhagavad Gita, or listening to Bhagavad Gita, or being heard in a class. You know, we can have different type of enjoyment. So those brothers, they were also saying, it gives me a lot of pleasure when I go out and chant the glories of Jesus Christ and people hear. Or they were saying something like that, when I distribute the mercy of Jesus, or something, when I offer prayers to Jesus. So Saint Francis said something which actually changed the trajectory of our thought. He said, just imagine that it's a very windy night, full of snowstorm everywhere. You are on the top of a mountain alone. You don't have proper clothes. Just imagine, I'm taking you there. Okay, so you don't have proper clothes. It's very cold. You don't have food. You don't have water. You don't have any cell phone reception. You cannot call anyone. So you are alone, and now you see from far away that there is an inn. The light is on. So you think, okay, I just have to walk from this place to that place. And once I'm in the inn, then I will have warm, cozy bed and we'll probably get something to eat. So with that desire, you drag yourself in that cold, windy night, stormy night with snow all around, and go and knock at the door of the inn. And the person who opens the door beats you with the stick. Then how dare you knock? Then you are left alone again. And now you have nowhere to go but just to surrender to Jesus. That is the highest pleasure of devotional service. When you have nothing else left. Namo akinchana vittaya. Kunti Maharani also prays like that. Namo akinchana vittaya nivritta guna vittaye. Atma Ramaya Shantaya Kevalya Pataye Namaha. Namo akinchana vittaya. Krishna, you're the property of the materially impoverished. So by making his devotees go through so much, Krishna makes them materially impoverished. You have no other shelter. Just me. Okay, Mataji, that is the vision of a pure devotee. Anyway, we can spend whole day discussing that. It's one of my favorite topics, but I just want to let you know that we cannot understand the life of a pure devotee unless and until we are pure devotee. So we can only take their blessings and pay our obeisances. Devotional service is something else. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Mataji, I want to add quickly one point, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, regarding Sita Mataji, in my Acharya's explanations I have heard, Ravana did not kidnap her. As you told, it was only the shadow. It was Vedavati who was kidnapped. And it was not Ravana who kidnapped her, but Sita voluntarily kidnapped Ravana himself, and then she went to Lanka and she herself put herself in the prison just to release all the Rakshasas' wives who were there were so many good women who were captured by Ravana in Lanka. Just to relieve them, she voluntarily, because she has all the potency to defend her from Ravana. She is not an ordinary woman actually. So the moment itself, by just giving him a curse, he would have disappeared. But just because Rama has to kill him, that is the boon. That is the curse for him in the previous birth. So to abide by that one, she voluntarily went to Lanka, and then to release all those ladies from the Lanka who were captured by Ravana.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Okay, who will read this? Who wants to read? Dyuti Mataji, you want to read?
Mataji, I have a question.
Somebody, yeah, can you wait, Mataji? I want to finish 3 more verses, then I can spend time in question answer. Is that okay, Mataji? Will you be able to remember that?
Mataji, 5 shlokas are left over, Mataji, this lesson.
46 are there, na?
45 or 46 probably, Mataji.
There. Yeah.
We will be able to complete.
Mataji. Ambika Mataji, you have a question?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Can I talk?
No, Mataji.
Okay.
I just want to read. I just want to read, Mataji.
Okay.
I have no question.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Smita Mataji.
Yeah, I have a problem because I was not able to open this Prabhu's lecture. You had given the homework. So how can I take help of Karthik Prabhu or someone? Because I have to call that book also. My book is in Bombay. I'm in Pune. So I'll get new book from your place. So Bhagavad Gita, because I can't read this. And that purport also I was not able to open. You had given the homework of last time. I couldn't open that. I registered, but I'm not able to open it.
Oh, so Karthik Prabhu, what she's saying is, can you download the lecture and share it?
No, I can buy. I don't want him to download. He has to help me how to buy these things.
Okay.
I can get it from Mangalore. He can help me. Then I'll buy these things. I don't mind having a separate set in Pune.
Okay, Mataji.
Things from you, if I may clarify. 2 things. One thing is that you were not able to open Prabhupada's lecture on verse.
Yeah. And that Bhagavad Gita book also I want to buy, where that purported translation I'll get handy. So I need some help for that. I couldn't open it. I tried to register, but I couldn't do.
We will download and share the lecture for you. I will not just download and share it with you. Second question is how to buy. So if we share the link with you, do you have someone around you who can help you?
Yeah, my daughter can help me buy.
Okay. Prabhu, can you please share the link to purchase book
Yes,
from
Mataji.
Prabhu? I'm very obliged. Thank you very much.
Sure, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, Vijita, yes, what is your question?
Not question, I wanted to read.
Okay, yeah, let's read till 42, because actually till 43, but because 43 is a place where the destruction of the dynasty finishes, but we are up on time. What should we do?
We can
extend. I don't mind. If everybody's ready, we can finish the first there.
Okay, let's finish 41 and then we can do the rest. This is the only class where I'm spending more than 3 sessions on chapter 1. All other chapters, all other classes, I finished chapter 1 in 3 classes. Yours is the only class. Okay, go ahead, Vijita.
Yes.
Mataji, we all are very good students.
Yes, thank you very much. They are also good. Yes, please go
Yes,
ahead.
Mataji. Shankaro Nara Kayaiva Kula Gana. Mataji, how to read that? Nanam Kulashacha Patanti Pitaro Hi Esham Lupta Pindo Pindadaka Kriyaha. I'm sorry, I'm really bad at reading. Yes, translation. Where there is increase of unwanted population, a hellish situation is created for both the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. In such corrupt families, there is no offering of oblations of food and water to the ancestors. Purport. According to the rules and regulations of fruitive activities, there is a need to offer periodical food and water to the forefathers of the family. This offering is performed by the worship of Vishnu because eating the remnants of food offered to Vishnu can deliver one from all kinds of sinful actions. Sometimes the forefathers may be suffering from various types of sinful reactions, and sometimes some of them cannot even acquire a gross material body and are forced to remain in subtle bodies as ghosts. Thus, when the remnants of prasadam food are offered to forefathers by descendants, the forefathers are released from ghostly or other kinds of miserable life. Such help rendered to forefathers is a family tradition, and those who are not in devotional life are required to perform such rituals. One who is engaged in the devotional life is not required to perform such actions. Simply by performing devotional activities, one can deliver hundreds and thousands of forefathers from all kinds of misery. It is stated in the Bhagavatam, Devarshi Bhutaptan Rinam Pitranam Na Kinkaron Nayamrini Cha Rajan Sarvatmana Yah Saranam Sharanyam Gato Mukundam Pariritya Kartam. Anyone who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation, and has taken to the path in all seriousness, owes neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. Bhagavatam 11th Canto, 5th chapter, 41st verse. Such obligations are automatically fulfilled by performance of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Very nice.
I'm
Thank you.
really sorry I read so badly Sanskrit.
Thank you. So now he said before that Varna Shankara will come out, and now he's saying that Varna Shankara will not be doing any offering to the departed ancestors. The family tradition will be destroyed, Krishna. We are on the path of destroying the family tradition, Krishna. He sounds very convincing, right? When I read this, I get very convinced that yes, he should not fight. But when I read Krishna's answer, then I get, oh yeah, he should fight. So so develop an opinion when you're reading Bhagavad Gita. That we have to, one is obligated to offer Vishnu prasadam to the departed ancestors, because in Garud Puran it is described that the soul, if the subtle body was not purified, may be suffering from so many misgivings, so many. But by giving Vishnu prasadam, the soul gets relieved from those misgivings. They get some body, the subtle body gets a gross body. But one who has taken to this 100% to Krishna consciousness, then they have no more obligation to be performed to anybody. We are all obligated to sun god, to moon god, to water, to wind, to earth, so many. We are all under mortgage of all these demigods. But how do we pay them back? Just by serving Krishna, just by using everything for Krishna's sake. We can pay them back. That's what it means. Okay, so next time when we meet, we will finish the chapter, and also I will spend time in homework questions that I gave.
Mataji,
Yes.
in that if we surrender to lotus feet of Krishna, we can take an example of Ajamila Mataji. Knowing or unknowingly, he remembered his son named Narayana. Then he was, when the Yamadutas came, then Vishnu Dutas came and they saved him from taking
Yes.
him to Haridwara.
Yes, so knowingly, and yes, very nice example, Mahati. Thank you. Yes, so Krishna is all powerful. Krishna does not become affected by anyone's sinful reaction. It's like sun. When sun goes to a place which is infected, that doesn't mean that the sun loses its potency. In fact, the place becomes purified because of sun rays. Like that, Krishna is like that. He takes away all the sinful reactions and he can claim the soul back. Come on, Come on, let's go back home. What are you doing here? Like that, we go back. Yes. Okay, any last questions? Otherwise, next week I will hear what is not next week. When are we meeting? 24th?